Hi guys, welcome back to Colorado Living. I'm Nicole Baker. Today we're going to be talking about all the things you need to know in regards to the differences on new builds versus pre-existing homes. If that's something that you're interested in, go ahead and keep on watching. But before we get started, I want to let you guys know I am a licensed realtor here in this beautiful state of Colorado. If you are interested, my number is popping up on the screen. I will help you guys relocate here. You guys can text, call, email. I love helping you guys. And if you're interested, go ahead and like and subscribe to this channel. I make videos every week, twice a week, Mondays and Wednesdays. So I will be dropping all the knowledge that you need if you're thinking about relocating. But let's go ahead and get started in today's video. Okay guys, getting right into it, we're gonna go into timelines and the differences between new builds and older homes. Older homes, we'll start off with that first in regards to timeline. Typically, you can close on an older home within 30 days, or even maybe at the worst case scenario, 90 days, and that is just in case somebody wants, like, say, a lease back. But typically, once people list their pre-existing homes for sale, they are looking to make that move within 30 to 45 days. So that's really good for a lot of people that are relocating here that do not have a very wide timeline. Like, they have to get here and get into a house ASAP because they're either starting jobs or so on and so forth. I mean, there could be a million different variables. They've already sold their house in whatever state they're coming from, so they have to find a home. A new build may not work. There are some options, so let's go into new builds. New builds typically take about 8 to 12 months and sometimes even longer, just depending on the market and how much materials are like accessible at that time period. I have a client who is finally about to close on their new build and it has been about a year and a half just because all the delays in construction over this last, 2 to 3 years. But now people are really, starting to crack down on the timelines, which is awesome. So typically, if you are going from a complete dirt lot where you have picked the lot, you have picked the floor plan, all of that, you're looking about 8 to 10 months. And then you also have the option occasionally, just depends on the builder, for a spec home / inventory home. You'll hear it both ways, but those homes are typically already picked out by the builder. So the lot's already picked, the floor plan's already picked, and a lot of the interior things are picked as well. Typically, you cannot make any changes on those spec homes. Sometimes, depending on how far along, you may be able to take 1 or 2 changes, but spec homes typically could be ready within 30 days. I mean, some of them are still gonna be maybe 6 months out, but that typically means they have already been started in some sort of ways, and the specifics, aka spec homes, have already been, like, the specifics have already been picked out essentially. So I think that a lot of the times new builds are really great for relocation people because typically you're not necessarily moving tomorrow. There are some people like that, but typically we're watching these videos about a year out before making that move and deciding exactly where I'm going to go. And during that time, you could have actually already purchased a home in the area that you really like and it is being built. So once you are here, you have a brand new home already ready for you. But again, in our Zoom talks, we really go over the specifics on what you guys are looking for in a home and your timeline to see if a new build or resale is really what's best for you. Another thing I want to talk about in regards to timelines is interest rates. So right now we're seeing interest rates as being very volatile. It is September 4th, 2022 when I'm recording this. So typically interest rates are on the rise right now, but sometimes, like yesterday, they could have gone down a point or a half point. It really is so volatile, and that is something that could be an issue for you and your family in regards to a new build. New builds do not let you lock in your rate until about 3 months prior to closing on that property. So out of the, say it takes 9 months to build that house, you can only lock in your rate at 3 months before the 9 months is up, which a lot of time has passed, and it is, again, very volatile when it comes to interest rates, and you could be paying quite a bit more monthly payment and or unfortunately, plain and simple, not qualify for that house anymore, because interest rate truly does affect your monthly payment quite a bit. And I think that's something that we don't really take into consideration when it comes to new builds. Resale homes, unlike new builds, you can lock in your rate within the first day that you're under contract. So typically a rate lock lasts about 30 days. I'm not a lender, so we can ask Anna or whoever the lender that you want to work with is, but typically it's about a 30-day lock. And if you have to, you can extend it. It does cost a little bit of money, but you are more than likely going to keep that same rate that you were quoted originally, if not maybe a little bit less, crossing my fingers for you. But that really does make a huge difference in the payment and how much you qualify for overall. Okay, going into qualifying a little bit more, let's talk about pricing and the difference between older homes and new builds. New builds do have some secret price increases that you can see if you do not read the contract. And let's go ahead and put a pause on this video. I wanna say, when you are buying a new build, please, please, please make sure you bring a realtor, because you may not think you need a realtor when it comes to new builds because they have the sales rep. But I have to tell you something, those sales reps are not always licensed realtors, 1. 2, they work for the builder, so they are representing the builder, and you do not get the same treatment that the builder does, unfortunately. There's a lot of secretive things that go on because they are representing the builder. You are being represented essentially by yourself, and they tell you really the bare minimum, and they do not explain the contract properly. So anyways, going back into price increases, you wanna make sure that you have your realtor read the contract, because sometimes when it comes to new builds, there are secret price increases depending on the market. One being the cost of lumber and materials at that time. I have had a contract that seriously stated in there that you could potentially have a 20% increase in your pricing depending on when your home hit a certain stage of the build, which is absolutely insane to think about. And unfortunately, a lot of people do not catch that, and they end up not being able to afford it, and they lose their earnest money. Earnest money is, just for a little lingo, for real estate lingo, earnest money is essentially your security deposit. So saying, it could be, I mean, I've seen them $500, I've had some that are $20,000. So here's $500 for you to hold this house for me and build it for me. And then they have the same thing when it comes to resale homes. Typically, it's about 1% of the purchase price. But again, new builds are a whole different beast in themselves. They have a ton of different rules that if you've never purchased a new build, you may not know about. But that is one of the secret things that you could be looking to pay in a new build if you aren't careful and you don't pay attention to the contract, and or your realtor doesn't pay attention, because the builder rep will not tell you. Okay, next we're gonna talk about incentives, and one of the things that I think are super, super valuable when it comes to new builds is that they offer incentives. And let me go into detail on exactly what those incentives are. Number one thing is going to be, a lot of the times the builder will actually pay for your closing costs if you use the builder's lender, which is absolutely amazing. It really cuts down on the out-of-pocket costs that come with buying a new build, because there are typically a little bit more out-of-pocket costs, just depending on the builder. Every situation's a little bit different, but there are actually a little bit more costs when it comes to buying a new build that are kind of like hidden, and I'll go into exactly some more of those hidden fees, similar to the price increase that I mentioned in the last section. But going into incentives, again, closing costs, one of them, fridge, washer, dryer, blinds. Sometimes those are included as well, which is really, really awesome. And it cuts down on the cost, especially for first-time home buyers. I think that's another reason why I really like new builds is I have helped a lot of first-time home buyers in the past. And I usually lead them somehow, some way into a new build because there are a lot of things that come with purchasing a resale home, like, you know, if your AC goes out because it's not brand new, or adding new paint, adding new carpet. I mean, it really adds up over time. Versus a new build, you don't really have to worry about that as much. Another thing is basements are not always included in, you know, the typical new build, but a lot of builders actually will occasionally include those depending on the incentives. Right now, we're kind of in a switch of market and buyers are actually able to, you know, shop a little bit more and not have to do like waiting lists and stuff like that, which is something that we kind of saw about 6 months ago when it comes to new builds. So that's really awesome. I know Richmond American offers occasionally a finished basement, and there are some other builders that do it as well. But that's something that's really awesome in regards to incentives on new builds that resale homes don't really have any kind of incentives like that. Sometimes you can get, actually right now, since we are in a shifting market, right now you could probably get the resale seller to purchase, you know, your closing, or to pay your closing costs for you, or purchase a 2-1 buy down if you're interested in that, to make your monthly payment lower for the first 2 years, that kind of thing. Those are some really cool incentives. Yeah, but going on to the next thing, we're gonna talk about the hidden fees. And one of the hidden fees that a lot of people don't think about when it comes to new builds is, so you're on the new build website and you see, oh, this house is $500,000. The house is not truly $500,000. This is where the hidden fees come into play. One of the hidden fees is going to be lot premiums. That price is the base price. So the lot premium is not always included. So typically, let's say if you are purchasing, say in a golf course community, if your backyard backs the golf course, that's not included in there. If you are in a cul-de-sac, sometimes it's a little bit more expensive. A larger lot is more expensive. So there's a few different variables when it comes to that. And then also the design center. The design center is probably where you're gonna end up spending quite a bit of money, anywhere between 30 if you do like the basic of basics, like only changing a little bit of things in the kitchen. And I go with you guys to the design center. One of my favorite things about the new build process, I'm not gonna lie, is the design center. And I come with you guys and I really help you stick to your budget and show you exactly what's gonna get you the most bang for your buck if you decide to sell in the next couple years. So typically it's kitchen, cabinets, really your whole entire kitchen package, and then also your flooring. And I also tell you exactly where you can save money that the builder rep nor the design center person, because they get paid off of that commission, is going to tell you. So I can help you guys really narrow down exactly where to spend that $30K if you only have a limited budget. But on average, you're probably gonna spend upwards towards like $75K, just depending on how many, you know, upgrades and how decked out the house is overall. But that means you could be spending, you know, $100K over that base price that the website says. So if it says 500, then you have, you know, lot premiums can be ridiculous, guys. I'm not gonna even lie to you. Sometimes they're no lot premium, sometimes they're 5K. I have sold a house that had a $160,000 lot premium. Crazy, absolutely insane. But they did have the hitting range for golf in their front yard, and then on the back they had like a little pond and then the actual golf course. So I can see like it's gonna be a little bit more expensive, but that's already, you know, we'll say for the sake of being not dramatic in this time, 10K for the lot premium, and then another 40K for easy numbers on your design center. That's 50K right there on top of the 550, and that really affects your monthly payment and a lot of different variables. So those are some hidden fees that you might not know in regards to the new builds. In regards to resale, I mean, it's always a gamble, right? There's a lot more gambling when it comes to resale homes, and that's because you're not buying something brand new. There are things that are gonna end up, the older a house gets, the more problems it typically has. So things like, washer dryer, how, if they even include that, are they good? Are they gonna run out? And then you're gonna have to drop $100K, or not $100K, $1,000, sorry, that's a really fancy washer and dryer. $1,000 for a new washer and dryer. What about the fridge, the AC, the roof? There's a lot of different variables that we don't know unless we had a crystal ball that we could tell time. So we don't have warranties on a lot of those things. And going into the next thing, let's get on to it. Warranties when it comes to new builds. A lot of times they will give you a warranty, or maybe not them, but the appliance maker, whatever it may, Maytag or G, those kind of brands. They'll give you a warranty on those things. Same thing with the AC. And then you also typically have a builder warranty, and that lasts about a year. So a lot of the times I suggest my clients have a home inspector come in out of their own costs, and that's probably about at month 11 of living in your home, and they will come up with a full list of all the things that need to be fixed, and then you can give that to the builder, and hopefully crossing your fingers that they'll actually fix all the things. I've heard horror stories in the past. When it comes to new homes, a lot of the times they say they're gonna do things and they don't, because you've already bought the home. So a lot of the times they won't come back, but I would say 95% of the time they'll come back and you won't have any issues. But that is something that's really nice about new builds, is you don't have to worry about that. And again, going back to first time home buyers, we don't always have, immense amounts of cash available. So that's something that's really, really nice. One thing I didn't mention about hidden fees. So some of the things that are not included typically in a new build is going to be landscaping and fencing. So those can be kind of considered hidden fees, if you will, when it comes to new builds, because, or even like the basement, like I said, not every builder includes that in their pricing and or in their build. So those can get pretty pricey if you want that fencing, or you want to add, I don't know, there could be a lot of different variables, but the biggest hidden fees really are, like that I didn't mention, the landscaping and then the basement and the fencing. A lot of the times you get to the house and you're like, oh wait, I thought that was included. Or again, blinds are not always included. Typically they're not included. And washer, dryer, fridge. I mean, that's a good chunk of change right there for first time home buyers in general. So resale homes, yes, there could potentially be a risk for more things to happen, but there's a lot of different variables, guys. I would have to know exactly who you are and what your plans are, but that is why I like a lot of the times to lead clients to new builds, is because some builders do include those things, and I can help you guys and guide you exactly what builders do, because I know a builder in the area that their houses are 500K, and that means they're 500K. There's no picking out your different design center things. It comes with landscaping, it comes with fencing. So you just have to know the right places to go to get those things. But a lot of the hidden fees that you may not know about, especially if you're not even a first time home buyer and you don't care, like you have money to spend out of pocket, those are some of the things that I would be asking about when you go to the builder and or asking your realtor, which is what you really should be doing. Last but not least, location when it comes to new builds and resale / older homes. Typically, you are not going to be able to find tons and tons of new builds inside the city of Denver. Denver is pretty, built out already. You do have the occasional infill home and or, a home that has just been completely remodeled, which are really nice options if you're looking to be in Denver and or they just scrapped whatever was there before and then they built up. But those are some really good options if you're looking for new builds in Denver, but typically you're not going to see them, and they are also going to be very expensive because they typically have already picked all the specifications out. So you don't get to pick any of the things that are in there, and that essentially brings up the price quite a bit. So if you're looking to stay, say only $30,000 in upgrades, Typically, they put upwards of $100K or more into those new builds that are gonna be in the city. But if you're really looking for new builds, typically you're gonna be in the suburbs. You could probably, I mean, you have resale obviously in the suburbs as well, but there are tons and tons and tons of resale homes in the main city of Denver. But suburbs, you will find all the new builds, and some of those neighborhoods like South Shore, which is in Southeast Aurora, Castle Rock has some amazing new builds. Also Parker has some amazing new builds. Typically, I love the new builds in Parker, but I mean, no matter where you're looking, they're typically gonna be new builds. It just depends on that pricing. So we can talk about that again in our Zoom chats, seeing what exactly your price point is and where you wanna live, and then we can narrow down if a new build or resale is right for you. All right, guys, that's it for today's video. Hopefully I gave you guys tons of information on exactly the differences between new build and resale. Again, I've done tons and tons of new build deals. I've done tons of resale. I really, really love selling new homes, but either way, I love helping you guys relocate here to Colorado, no matter what those means are. If you're interested, my number's popping up on the screen, text, call, also my email will be there at any time. You guys can reach out to me. I love hearing from you guys. But if you like this video, hit me a like, shoot me a comment if you guys would, and subscribe. I make videos Monday and Wednesday, and I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Bye.